PPT. Is it visible, other one, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right, so let us go through this. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjan Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Niti Namane Nama Sadbhaktamnaya Manipurudbhavaya Cha Prabhupala Sadvani Pracharan Niritayate Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा माता जी प्रभु जी महाराज जी everyone please bless me together. Let us go through this PPT. I have given this title From Windy Thoughts to Blissful Bhakti. So the thoughts, our mind is having plethora of thoughts, so many thoughts. Oh my God, there is not a single moment when we can say that we are thoughtless, especially in the age of Kali Yuga. We don't even have a sleep which is dreamless many times. So this is actually the nature of the mind, actually, to keep thinking and deliberating and contemplating on one thing and thinking about it. So, but these thoughts are windy and very turbulent, and they cause great deal of problem. On the other hand, there are these bhakti-laden thoughts where the bhakti is there. So, if we have such kind of thoughts where one thinks of Krishna and services related to Krishna, his Guru Maharaj, and services instructed by Guru Maharaj, and actually executes them, then his life will be filled with bliss. So thoughts are not bad. All we have to do is just we have to fill our mind with bhakti laden thoughts. So let us go through the slides. So the flickering nature of mind is definitely something that everyone must be aware of, because everyone has got a mind, and everyone understands that this is a great deal of problem, actually, isn't it? So just a second. Sure, hide floating metric controls. Yeah. So the mind is constantly changing in thinking, feeling, and willing. The mind is constantly changing, and our actions, actually, our cravings, and our actions. Actually, it all starts with the action. Suppose if you eat a sweet, and so definitely with that sweet, you are actually also giving this craving to the mind, and the mind starts thinking, feeling, and willing. And next moment, you may eat samosa, which is very nice. So mind will start thinking what samosa and sweet and gulab jamun, and so this is the flickering nature of the mind, right? Mind is very flickering, really very flickering. By nature, it is very restless. And these are the three functions of mind, dear devotees: thinking, feeling, and willing. Actually, the soul thinks, feels, and wills. But in this alien material world, like the soul is full of activities. There are two kinds of activities, dear devotees: the physical activities and these mental activities. However, to thrive in this material world, the soul is given the gross body and the subtle body to perform these two activities. The activities of physical activities like walking, moving, and mental activities like thinking, feeling, and willing. For these mental activities, we have got the mind, and to exercise the free will, we have got the buddhi. All these things are there. So this mind is always doing its job. of thinking, feeling and willing. ये माइंड का काम है, माइंड का ये फंक्शनैलिटीज है, माइंड का कोई दोष नहीं है. Okay. What next? So, and it is very chanchal and it is strongly influenced by external forces. This is very, very evident, like how our external forces really, cause so much flickering in the mind. We all know the story of Ajamila. We know the story of so many. We know the story of Vishwamitra, right? Vishwamitra was so daily we watch Ramayana, I and my uncle, and some students also watch Ramayana daily here while taking lunch. So Vishwamitra ji was telling his story how he was very, very aptly performing his tapasya when he was actually, moved by the feminine gestures of Menaka. So strongly influenced by external forces. So therefore, initially, what we are actually told that we cannot control the mind, but we can definitely control the external forces, which means we need to create a distance between the senses and the sense objects. So therefore, we are advised not to, not to eat, not to, uh, intoxicate ourselves, or no vegetarian, no onion, no garlic, no tea, no caffeine. All these things are actually very, very harmful. Caffeine is really very harmful. Caffeine actually is it causes intelligence loss. It causes because it is tamasic in nature. So all these intoxicants, one must, and unfortunately in this Kali Yuga, people are like regularly consuming regularly. Tea, I think before the British rule, no one actually knew what tea is. But after British rule, now tea has become a daily commodity in everyone's home. Everyone is so addicted to tea, and tea causes problem. We were also addicted to tea, but thanks to Srila Prabhupada's books and association of devotees, we could very easily give these nasty habits. So now what happens, the problem with this flickering mind is that the flickering mind, it leads to, what happens, this flickering mind actually, on account of its entanglement with one sense object or another sense object, it is always involved in false pursuits. And these pursuits are actually temporary. Pursuits for temporary things, which ultimately result into ultimate loss, like this fish, which gets tempted by a bait, little does it know that actually this bait is a temptation. It really is going to cost my life. The fish does not know. Similarly, we are entangled with one object, sense object, another sense object. So at the time of death, what happens? What happens at the time of death? Everything is moving so very fast, like a movie reel. The living entity is actually going through all the bodies, 8.4 million bodies. Like in a shopping mall, one goes and he sees so many shops, so many clothes, so many crockeries and fashion items, all these things. Now in a shopping mall, similarly at the time of death, the living entity actually is presented all the bodies and all the sense objects. But whatever has been prominent, whatever has been the object of major engrossment in that human life, the living entity finally fixes his mind on that particular object. Are you getting me? So if the living entity if human being rather, has been consuming meat and has developed taste for non-veg, so at the end moment, his mind will simply be fixated on that. And now what happens after that fixation? When he leaves the body, when he gives the body, he gets a body, fresher body, which is spun around this fixated mind. Like, have you seen the reel? This reel होती है ना, सिलाई मशीन में reel होती है जो thread की reel जो होती है, तो the reel, the thread is spun around that spool ना. Similarly, this gross body is spun around the mind, which is fixated on a particular sense object. So a particular type of body is given to the living entity. Here we see it is said that soul does not take birth. Actually, soul gets a new body, but we say we can define the birth of soul like this: soul getting a new body is the birth of the soul. Actually, the soul throughout its tenure in this material world or anywhere, soul by nature is unchanging. Soul is not taking birth. Soul is not dying. Soul is not going through any of these transformations. It's just that the soul, on account of Dehata Buddhi, it identifies itself with the mind, and the mind is linked with the gross body. So the soul identifies itself with the bodies, and in every life there is this triplet of threefold miseries. Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, and Adhyatmik miseries are there. Many miseries are there. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. So these miseries are great problems actually. Therefore, temporary happiness will lead to ultimate loss, very great loss. So therefore, this human body is very important. In this human body, Prahlad Maharaj says that every moment is of great earth. It's every moment, so it's very meaningful actually, very meaningful. It's very rarely achieved, and it's a very short-lived life, only 100 years. Trees live for 1,000 years. Tortoise live longer than us. Ideal human tenure is 400 years. Now it is getting shorter and shorter, thanks to Kali Yuga and our existence in this. So we have got a very small life, and it's very rare life, but each and every moment of this human life is very precious, very precious. But unfortunately, the whole human life is lost into this false pursuits, to this temporary happiness, and this leads to ultimate loss. Right? So this is not a good bargain, na? So what should we do? We should control the mind. But Arjuna says that controlling the mind is very difficult. How difficult? More difficult than controlling the wind. One can hypothetically control the wind, but how can one control the mind? Mind में इतने सारे thoughts हैं. Wind में तो फिर भी physics के laws है. Physics laws are determining the movement of this twister or twister कहते हैं ना, a twister or this turbulent storms. और क्या नाम होता है प्रभु जी इसका जो आता रहता है हमारे पानी को? Cyclones. Hurricanes. So physical laws, I know somewhere it can be done, but mind is not affected by working under some physical laws. Mind is extremely restless, very difficult, impossible to control. Actually, it is impossible to control mind. Period. Mind is impossible to be controlled. Prabhupada ji is using this example of the boat in uncontrollable winds. So if a boat is there on an uncontrollable wind, what will happen? The boat will capsize, it will sink, and the passengers will die. This is just try to understand, dear devotees, that can you see the picture? This picture is very, it's very fierce. Now it's fearsome picture, right? The winds are there, the waves are there, the small boat is there. Even more fierce than this, even more horrendous than this is the situation of our mind, and we don't realize it. Very a pathetic situation of ours is we are having the mind. Now this is the problem. We will go wherever mind takes us. So therefore, what should we do? So Prabhupada is saying we should stabilize the mind in this Bhava Samudra. This Bhava Samudra means this Bhava Sagar, material existence. And we are having this small life in this huge material ocean. And we got to stabilize the mind, otherwise human life will go waste. So now this transmigration is something which is what Vasudevji is telling Kamsa, that the problem is transmigration. There are so many species, and living entity goes from one species to another species. Sometimes he becomes cow and he eats grass, and next time he can become a lion when he does not eat grass. He does not like to eat grass, right? Sometimes he becomes a herbivore. Next life he can become a carnivore, and he gets a body which is suitable to feed on grass or meat. This is transmigration. The human life has been given to stop this transmigration once and for all. Okay? So based on mentality, one transmigrates to different forms of life. One transmigrates. So there is a difference between transmigrates. It's the evolution versus transmigration. Darwin says evolution. He says no evolution. We evolved. But actually, we do not evolve. We devolve also. We transmigrate actually from one body to another. Transmigration is the Vedic conception of evolution. And now we have got this human body, human life, human opportunity. Now we should try to evolve our mind, evolve our consciousness. So we should evolve our consciousness to actually Krishna consciousness. And one more thing, dear devotees, this our actions in this life and the past many lives actually define the majority of the mode which will be prevalent during our end moment. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and the destination they lead us to. So the destiny, इसमें आचार्यों ने बताया, एक बहुत अच्छी चीज बताई आचार्यों ने, कि जो डेस्टिनी होती है वो क्या होती है. श्रीधर स्वामी जी ने बताया है. आप सब लोग मेरे पीछे बोल सकते हैं. दैवेना इज, बोलिए, फलाभिमुखेन कर्मणा. फलाभिमुखेन कर्मणा means karma coming into effect. Destiny is actually karma is coming into effect. So the karma, our karmas define the mode, decide the mode. Suppose if the mode of goodness is there, so we'll go to higher planets. Mode of passion will keep us here only, and mode of ignorance will take us to hellish worlds. This is also transmigration. Not only we transmigrate from one body to another body, we also transmigrate from one planet to another planet. So this Abhyas Yoga is the artificial way to control the mind, which is definitely very much fallible. You are trying to control the mind. Rather than engaging the mind in devotional service, one tries to various tactics of Abhyas Yoga. He tries to, refrain from sense enjoyment. But how much can he do? Vishwamitra's story is very famous. So Arjuna also says it is it is impractical for me, Krishna. It is Dhyan Yoga, Abhyas Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, whichever you're talking about is practically impossible. Arjuna is saying this, so we are the residents of Kali Yuga. How can it be at all easy for us? Not at all easy for us. It's impossible for us. So, Bhakti Yoga is a solution. Bhakti Yoga says by engaging in Bhakti Yoga, the mind can be controlled by Krishna's grace, which means we do not have to refrain the senses, we rather have to engage the senses in Bhakti Yoga rather than binging on snacks or all these sweet items from market. We rather, first of all, prepare with love, wonderful delicacies for Jagannath ji, offer to Jagannath ji with love and honor the prasad. This is an engagement, right? Engaging the senses. So many senses are there. No, 11 senses are there. Karmendriya, Gyanendriya. Engage all these things in Bhakti Yoga, and the mind will automatically, effortlessly, mind will be controlled. In fact, mind will be engaged. Mind will be filled with the thoughts of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji says, Harer Naam, Harer Naam, Harer Naam e Kevalam. This is the recommendation for this Kali Yuga. Because chanting the Hare Krishna mantra fixes the mind on Krishna's lotus feet. One chants the Hare Krishna mantra, he is actually performing the wonderful limb of Kirtan as well as Kirtan, Shravan, Smaranam, actually everything. And this is the perfection of yoga. Because, why is it perfection of yoga? Because the name of Krishna and Krishna are actually same, not different at all. There is no difference at all. So, this Krishna conscious movement is the topmost welfare activity because it saves humanity from birth and death. तो शिला प्रभुपाद जी का एक कोट लिखा हुआ है. I will request some of you to read this quote, please. माता जी इस कोट को पढ़ेंगे?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु. पोस्टर में जो लिखा हुआ है अंदर.
Yes.
You cannot maintain slaughterhouse in the human society, and at the same time you want peace. It is not possible. Srila Prabhupada.
So Srila Prabhupada is saying this Krishna conscious movement is not only for saving humanity but the saving lives of others, because when, let's say, everyone becomes a devotee, so everyone will have, only a devotee actually truly respects other life forms. Otherwise, non-devotees are hell-bent on their sensory enjoyment. For that, they will not hesitate killing animals, poor animals. And if we kill animals, the laws of karma entail that we also have to become animals in the next life to be rewarded that same treatment by other human beings. So therefore, Krishna conscious movement purifies our consciousness by engaging in Krishna's service. And the identities like I'm American, I'm Indian, they are lost, that I'm a human being, he's an animal, so I can kill him. I am white, he's black, so I am superior to him. I'm South Indian, I am not Indian. All these mentalities first of all will wash away. Because the living entity, he realizes that actually, in actuality, he is the eternal servant of Krishna, who is our eternal master. So, Krishna consciousness movement means Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. You use purified senses in Krishna's service. This is bhakti. And because it kind of, makes it clearer and clearer our servant master relationship with the Supreme Lord. So this, someone else can read this wonderful quote by Shripad Maharaj. May I request?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
God is absolute
infinity and jiva. The living entity is absolute infinitesimal. The human soul, however intelligent he or she may be, will always remain subordinate to the consciousness of the Supreme Lord.
Okay. This is a servant-master relationship with the Supreme Lord. This is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means I am the servant. Krishna is the master. Krishna is the master of even this material world, so I must dissociate from exploiting this material world anymore. Rather, I must use these material assets in service of Krishna. This is the perfection of human life. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here now. If anyone has got any question or addition, please. You're most welcome.
Very wonderful presentation.
Hare Krishna.